Hello, everybody. How is everybody on this beautiful Saturday afternoon?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
Good, good, good. Nice to see everybody.
Same here.
You can type it, if you can find the chat for me and type in where you're from. I'd like to see where everybody's from and what time it is in your part of the world. That would be awesome. Just find the chat button if you can. It might be under more. So look on your screen. It might be under more and you can find the chat button and there we go. Well done, Marty. And just make sure you send it to everyone. New Jersey, 10 a.m. Ken, Minnesota, USA. Coulter's just paid for his course here. I just said to him, Arriva here from Toronto. Is it early in Toronto? 9 a.m. Is people getting up early? Wow.
Yes. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. I'm good.
Good, good, good. So a little bit of housekeeping. I've got my daughter, lovely daughter here, Holly, who's going to be helping me moderate and keep the session going smoothly, because I'm expecting about 50 people. So it's fantastic. Getting you all here, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And how it's going to work is Holly will mute everybody and turn everybody's cameras off. If you know how to do that, you're welcome to do it yourself, but she will do it. And how you will communicate with Holly and I is during the session is via the chat. So if you have questions for me on the topics as we're going through, just type it in the chat, and Holly will make notes and pass them through to me. So I'm going to be stopping every now and then to get questions from everybody and see if I can answer a few of the questions. We are going to be focusing just on Band in a Box.
I don't know why you don't just call me. I
might need these software which is on here.
Yeah.
Managed to mute myself there. We're going to be focusing today on Band in a Box, and then if there's enough interest, I can always run one of these on Real Band at a later stage. But let's just start with Band in a Box. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to share my screen and hopefully share my sound, and I'm going to take you through step by step, so, you know, how I go about doing a Band in a Box song. So, you know, just be aware that there are hundreds of different ways of doing things in Band in a Box. And what I'm going to show you is basically how I do it, how I use the program. But you will no doubt find your own way, you know, over time and your own workflow. Okay, might help if I could spell Band in a Box. Here we go. So I'm just going to open up Band in a Box, and what we're going to start with is going through the overall interface and just explaining a few things about the interface so that you can become familiar with it. Okay, so this is the Band in a Box interface, and I think it's more or less, can everybody see me? Can everybody see my screen? Everybody
Yes, I have a quick question. I was wondering if you're going to record this.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to record it, and everybody who's paid will automatically get it, and it will be uploaded to YouTube for you to view whenever you want. It won't be ever taken down, so you can always refer back to it. All right, thanks, Miriam. So this is the basic Band in a Box interface that you see, and this is the new interface that PG Music has put out in the last 2 years. Before that, it was always this interface. Okay, So when you look on YouTube on Band in a Box, or you read up on anything, you'll often see this interface and not this interface. So often the first question that I get from people when they open up Band in a Box is, I'm not seeing the screen that you're seeing. How do I do it? And just at the top left-hand corner, there's some little buttons, and you can just toggle between the new interface and the old interface. So this is the new interface, and this is the old interface. Okay, so just be aware of that. Personally, I always work on the old interface because I started using the program in 2012. So that's all I had, and that's what I'm used to. So whenever I'm training people, or my ebooks, or my videos, or whatever, I'm always using this interface. So that's the first thing to understand. Okay, so the second thing is, these are just at the top here. Let me just move my screen. These are just file options, all right? The things that you can do inside Band in a Box, okay? All the functionality is here that you can do. But often there'll be also in these areas here, the same way of doing something. So you can move between the various places on the interface to do things. Just don't get confused by the interface. It's got so much functionality in it, but what you'll find over time is you'll get used to the 5 or 6 things that you use all the time and ignore the rest of the interface, because there really is so much information packed into Band in a Box. Don't let it overwhelm you. Just use the functions that you know and that you're happy to do. So those are the menu options. And then these are common functions that you might want to use up at the top here. So save as, okay? Then this is your song area. So this is your song title, and we're going to run through Amazing Grace. We're going to make a backing track for Amazing Grace today because I like the song, and also it's public domain, so I won't get into trouble. So that's your song area, and then your song memo and your song settings are here, but they're also under the edit function as well, okay? Then this area is your style, okay? So this is the style that is currently assigned to this song. So we started making a song for Amazing Grace, and what Band in a Box does is it pulls up the style that you were using in your previous session of Band in a Box. So I was obviously using the laid back country shuffle style. So when I open a new session of Band in a Box, that's what it brings up. But I'm going to show you in detail how to find different styles, okay? But that's your style area, and it shows you what the current style is. A style is a group of instruments that PG Music has put together that go together, okay, that sound nice together. And what they've done is they've mixed it nicely. So they've put the panning and the instruments and the volumes of all those instruments. So you can use that style as a package, okay? So that's a huge, huge advantage in Band in a Box. If you can find a style that you like for your particular song, there's very little information that you have to change there because they have done the hard work, all right? So that's your style here. This section of the screen shows you that the song starts at bar number 1, and there's your bar numbers, bar 1, 2, 3, 4. It starts at bar number 1, it goes for 32 bars, and it repeats 3 times, okay? So that is the default that that Band in a Box opens with every time you open with a new song, okay? So you will want to change that when you open up, okay? So this, I generally unfold the song. So I set the choruses to 1, and I set the end bar to something arbitrary like 100 so that I've got space to work on. Okay, so you would only use the repeating choruses if you've got exactly the same chord progression, exactly the same instruments and everything in each section of the song, then you can use the repeating choruses. But I usually use I just use one chorus, okay? And then this is the swing, this is the feel of the song. And there's basically 4 different types of feels that that Band in a Box, that PG Music uses. So there's the swing feel, which is your little offbeat, you know, like your jazzy thing. I don't know how to explain swing feel. It's like your jazz beat. And there's a swing 8 and a swing 16. And then there's an even beat, which is even, okay, on the beat. And there's an even 8 and an even 16. Okay, so the 8 ones tend to be a little bit more lackadaisical than the 16 ones. Okay, so if you're using a ballad, you might want to use the 8 feel. And if you're going for a rockabilly or something like that, you might want to use the 16 feel. And then this is your time signature, okay? So when you're starting, I would advise just to stick with your standard time signatures, which is either a 4/4 or a 3/4. Get comfortable with those, completely comfortable, and then play around with other timing. You can also use a 6/8, is very common, but those are the 3 time signatures that 99% or 95% of pop songs will sound good with either a 4/4 timing, a waltz timing, or a 6/8 timing. Okay, and then this is your key. So when you open Band in a Box, it always defaults to the key of C, and you can change this. I'll show you how to do that a little bit later, all right? And then this is your beats per minute and your tempo. So again, when Band in a Box opens up, it defaults to something. I'm not sure if it defaults it to the beat of the style or if it's just always 120, but it's basically the default, okay? These over here, these are your mixer. This is your mixer. And these are the instruments that PG Music has said go with this JJ Shuffle laid back country style. Okay. So in this particular style, PG Music has got a bass, a piano, a drums, and a guitar. Okay. Other styles might only have a bass and drums. Others might only have a guitar. Others might have all sorts of accordions and all sorts of instruments. If you have the Ultra Pack, there's like 3,000 different instruments that you can choose from. So they have grouped these instruments together into that style. And you can see here that these instruments repeat along the top here, okay, in green. The white ones here are just saying that these tracks are not being used at the moment, okay? Strings, melody, soloist, and audio. Audio is a special channel, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but for now, ignore it. But they're basically saying these white tracks, they're not being used. You can use them. You can add your own instrument to those tracks if you want. Okay, so that is the basic overall interface. And then this is where you put plugins. You can do all sorts of fancy things if you want, but we're not going to get into that now. I've never used pianos and patches personally. All I use is the mixer and the plugins. And you see here that each of these instruments in the mixer section has got a volume. Okay, so you can turn the volume up and down, and it's also got a panning and a reverb. Okay, so you know, often you will want to pan your different instruments out to fill your whole spectrum, your sound spectrum, and this is where you will do it. Okay, generally your bass is in the middle. Okay, bass is in the middle, your drums are in the middle, and then the other instruments are fanned out to the side of the bass and the drums, generally. And then this is reverb. You can put a little reverb on individual instruments if you want. All right, so but again, only if you want to when you get into it. These are shortcut buttons that take you to specific functions within Band in a Box that you can do quickly. So the ones that I use are the play and the generate and play. I don't really use loop, but you might want to loop something. And then play from doesn't play from the middle of the beginning of the song. It plays from whichever bar your mouse is on. Stop, pause, and then record audio and record MIDI. Okay, so I use those functions. Don't worry about the rest of the functions for now. You can get into them as you become more familiar, but you would use just those to start with. And then this is the area where your magic happens. This is where your chords are typed into Band in a Box. So what PG Music has done is they've gone into a studio and they've recorded all of these 3,900 instruments with real musicians. And they've recorded like 2 or 3 bars of each instrument, of say, Brent Mason playing an acoustic guitar. And they've recorded him playing it. And where the software does its magic is it takes those 2 bars of Brent Mason playing his acoustic guitar and it changes it according to the chords that you put in, the key, and the tempo. So it'll transpose those 2 bars of musical instrument that they've recorded, and they'll stretch it and compress it to fit those that tempo. Okay, so that's the magic of what Band in a Box has developed, is all these millions of real tracks, and we will talk a little bit about MIDI tracks towards the end. But what you need to understand, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. For now is these green tracks, you see where it's green, is telling you that those are real tracks. So those are real samples recorded in a real studio with real musicians. You don't need to have any fancy software. You don't need to have any synths or anything like that to play real tracks. 99% of the time, real tracks will do the job, what you want to do. If you further on down the line, you might want to use MIDI for specific reasons, but personally, I use real tracks for my songs. Okay, so I think I'm going to pause for questions. I see that Holly's writing some questions there on that section because it's quite important that you understand. 2/4. Okay, how to change the time signature to 2/4. We'll come back to the time signature because it will depend on the style that you choose. Okay, but if I just click that, I can change it to 2/4. Set time signatures. Okay. Oh, why didn't that work? Because I didn't press OK. Probably. Oh, I'm not too sure. Let me come back to that one. I'll come back to that one. Holly, just write down who asked the question as well, please. We'll come back to that one. But often the time signature is set by the style that you choose. So usually when I'm recording a song or I'm writing a song, I will choose a style that fits the song that I'm trying to record or write. And that will normally determine the time signature, the swing, the feel, and also the beats per minute, as well as the default instruments that are in that style. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how I go about from start to finish making a backing track for Amazing Grace. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go and get the chords. And I will just go to a site called Ultimate Guitar, because that's got all sorts of chords and lyrics in there. So that's my go-to site. And what I do generally is I choose the one with the most stars and the most ratings. So I'm just going to go for Amazing Grace version 2. All right. Okay. Now, what the first thing I will do, this shows you the chords. Okay. I know that normally I like to record in the keys of G and A and D. So I select a key that will suit me. So in this case, it's already in G. So that sounds fine. And I'm going to use the key of G. Okay. So I'm just going to go back to my song, and I'm going to change the key to G. The first thing I'm going to do, because I'm going to be typing the chords in the key of G. Right. So now I want to find a style that is going to suit me doing a recording of Amazing Grace. So you go into the style picker. Okay. First thing, press the clear button just to clear any filters that you might have already put here. So just press the clear button. Now, these are all the styles that Band in a Box has, that I have got in my version of Band in a Box. So I have got the Ultra Pack, and I've also over the years bought all the extra styles. So this list of styles might not look exactly like the list of styles that you've got in your own version of Band in a Box, okay? If you have the Pro version of Band in a Box, then you'll only have 100 styles. If you've got the mega pack, I think you've got 300 styles. So I have got all the styles, okay? So what I do is I just type in Amazing Grace. This is PG Music has put together a database of common songs and giving you some idea of the styles that might suit a cover of that particular song, okay? So if I type in Amazing Grace, I'll just show you quickly, I'll show you quickly all the songs that it's got in this database. If I say find titles, these are all the songs that they have put together, a link between the song or the version of the song and a style and a country and a key and a tempo and a feel and a timing. Okay. So they've already done a lot of that work. So if you are doing covers of popular songs, my advice to you is always to start with a style that they might have set it and then change it from there, okay? So that you find a nice style that fits that song and then make it your own from there. If you're writing your own songs, then try and imagine what other song you want it to sound like. So if I was writing a song and I wanted to sound like Country Roads by John Denver, then that's a starting point that I can use to find a suitable style, okay? So you see there, Country Roads, John Denver, just double click that, and Band in a Box will give you suitable styles if you're doing a cover of Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver. So if I'm writing a song and all I can hear in my head is Country Roads, then that'll be my starting point to actually to write the song. And from then on, I'll change instruments and do other fancy stuff, but that's always a starting point. Okay, so you see here what I was saying about the time signature. Each of these styles has got a time signature, okay? So it's determined by the style. So if I wanted to find all the styles in 2/4, go. This is other. Let's see, what has it got here? 4/4. Where's 2/4? Don't see it. I think it puts it under 4/4. Actually, I'm not too sure. 4/4, including 6/8. Okay, I will get back to you on that one. Okay, so we'll get back to Amazing Grace. So if I type in Amazing Grace here, you see that they've got a few different versions of Amazing Grace, because obviously different versions of the song are going to have different styles. So if I'm going to do an Alan Jackson version of Amazing Grace, I'm going to use a piano ballad. It's a waltz timing and it's an even 8, and it's a tempo of 75. If I'm going to do a traditional Amazing Grace, it's a folk style. It's also a waltz, and it's even 8, and it's about 85 beats per minute. So there I've got to make the decision, what type of cover of Amazing Grace do I want to do, okay? And it's going to give me different styles depending on which one I select. So if I select American Traditional, you see it's given me this one. So Balsa Slow Celtic Waltz is at the top there, okay? So that's the best match that Band in a Box knows for that version of Band in a Box. If I press this one, then it brings up a different set of styles, okay? Interestingly, it's still got the Balsa Slow, but it's got other styles there. So it's changed the styles depending on what version I want to do. So for now, I'm just going to select the traditional American. So I'm just going to audition these styles. So can everybody hear that? Are you able to hear that? If you can just type in the chat that you can hear those styles playing, that would be awesome. Yes, they can all hear. Fantastic. Okay, so, you know, getting to know the styles inside your version of Band in a Box is a hugely rewarding task that you can spend a couple of hours just getting to know what styles there are in there, what they sound like, what talks to you and what doesn't talk to you, what are your favorites, that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to choose this one, the Celtic Harp Waltz, because I like that one. Okay, so I just pressed enter there. Sorry. Oh man, I'm trying to move the, oh, okay. So you see here, it changed that style that I had just now into the Turin Slow Celtic Harp Waltz, okay? And it changed the instruments to the bass, the bouzouki, the drums, the harp, and the auto harp, because those are the instruments that make up that style. It also changed the feel. Remember, it was a swing 8 before. Now it is a even 8. Okay, and it changed the time signature to a waltz, the 4/4. It changed the key I put in before I started, and the tempo, it also changed to a 90. So it changed it according to the style that I selected. I don't know what is going on here, why I've got these bar settings. Okay. I'm just going to open a new file because I think I messed it up with changing that. So I'm just going to make the key G. Okay. Remember, I made the chorus 1, the end of bars to 100 to give myself more space to work on. Okay, so I'm basically ready to start typing in my song. The next thing to notice is these bars here, these blue ones, and then there's also a green one. If I double click, if I click it twice, it changes it to a green one. Those are your part markers, okay? So they mark the start of each part of the song. So the instrumental, the solo, sorry, the introduction, the verse, the chorus, the verse, the chorus, instrumental, and outro. And you see it's also repeated at the top here. The blue ones are generally slightly less busy than the green ones, okay? So generally, I use the blue ones for the verses and then the green ones for the choruses. And when I say busy, I mean that the drums are a busier drum beat in the green styles. And sometimes some of the guitars also change. So that's why you'll generally want to use a blue part marker for the verses and the intro, and a green part marker for the choruses. Okay, so I'm just going to put 2 bars of G as an introduction now, and I'll come back later and change that at a later stage. And I'll just type in the chords, go and check out the chords, G7, C, G. Oops. Literally just type in the chords, G. I think I might have to put it in half bars here. I'll play it now. Okay. And once, G, G7, C, G. G, E minor, D, G, E minor, can't remember, D, G, G. Okay, and then I'm going to put another part marker in there, all right, to show you that I've done that. And I'm just going to listen to that and see what it sounds like. Okay, hit the generate and play because that generates the backing for you. So it's going to transpose these instruments into those chords that I've typed in there. Amazing grace. No, chords aren't in the right place. Can everyone hear that? I need to expand these chords by the chord changes aren't coming in the right place. So I'm just going to go edit, okay, song form, expand duration of chords by 2. Okay, change the tempo back to 90. Let's see if that fit. Did everyone see what I did there? I had typed them into the wrong place, so it didn't fit the song. So I went edit, song form, and I expanded the duration of chords by 2, and then I set the tempo back to where it was. So let's try that again. Okay, so that sounds about right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, for this song, the chords in the verses happen to be exactly the same as in the refrain, but often obviously you've got different chords in the refrain and in the verses. But this particular song, it's very easy for me. It's got all the same chords. So I'm just going to select these bars, okay, 15 bars, no, however many there are. And I'm just going to Control C on my keyboard and Control V into bar 21. Okay, so does everybody see what happened there? I highlighted, I'll do it again. I highlighted from bar 1 all the way to bar 20 because those are the chords that go into the first refrain, and I'm trying to copy them into the verse. Control C, I put my mouse on bar 21 and press Control V. Okay, and it's copied those chords down into bar 21, and so that it ends at bar 36. Okay, and I can copy it again because they are all exactly the same. So I go down to bar 37 and I press Control V and it copies them again. Okay, go down to bar 53 and press my mouse in bar 53, Control V, and it copies them again. Okay, so you can do that for however many verses in this particular song and choruses you want. Okay, so now what I would do, so say in this song, I'm going to do one chorus. So I'm going to change that to green because I want the busier drums to play in the chorus. So I've got one chorus and then I've got a verse. Okay, and then I've got another chorus at bar 37, and then I've got another verse at 53. Okay, and I just want to finish with a last chorus. So at bar 69, I've got a chorus starting and it ends at bar 84. Okay, so you can see it's also repeated it at the top of the screen here. It's showing you that I've got a very short intro. I've got a 4-bar intro, and then my first refrain, a chorus, a refrain, a refrain, a verse, a refrain, a verse, and then a chorus to end off. Okay. Now I just want to make my song finish at bar 84. Okay, that's the last, that is the last place where the song finishes. So I want to put the end of the song in bar 84. Okay, so this is very, very key to programming endings. Okay, and I get thousands of questions on the forum, on the Band in a Box group on endings. So you must put the song must finish on the last bar of your chords, on the last, the last chord that the song has here. Okay, so here is E minor, D, G. I was blind, but now I see. Okay, and that's a G. Then what Band in a Box will do automatically is generate 4 bars of endings. It'll be on the tonic, so it's on G, and this must be the tonic. So it can't be A minor or C or D or any other thing. It must be G for it to play a nice outro. Okay, so you see my key is G. I must make this one in bar 85, which you see the word end, you must make that a G. And then Band in a Box will play a nice 4-bar outro, and you don't have to do anything about it. Okay, so that's the secret for endings. You'll hear how it ends. I'll show you. Oh, did I not press OK? It's regenerating my file here. You can see at the top of the screen. So generally, for 99% of the cases, you're going to get a nice ending if you just stick to those rules, and you make that the tonic and let Band in a Box play a full bar outro. So there we have the structure of the song set up for you. I am going to have a break for some questions. Oh my goodness, I've got lots. Okay, Eric, I hope I've answered that one. Just answer yes in the thing if I have. Banjo, how do you change the feel from 8 to 16 to affect the song? Number of beats in each bar. Okay, so this 8 to 16, it's generally determined by the style of the song. Okay, I wouldn't muck about with it except for inner style. So remember that the style that I picked here had an even 8, okay, because that was what Band in a Box decided was good for this particular song. But if I wanted it to be an even 16, okay, let's just clear this. Even 16, there you see I've got other styles that I can use that are even 16. Okay, but I don't want all the 4 4s because I know that's not going to suit this song. So I only want 3 4s. Okay, so I just press that, and then it's going to give me all the waltzes. Okay, now the next thing to notice is you want to choose a style that is close in tempo to where you want the song. So you don't want a style that they said is 185 beats per minute for a song at 80 or 90. It's going to sound horrible. So you want to choose one that's close to, the tempo of the song that you want there. So I'm doing a 90 beats per minute. You'd probably get away with 100. But I wouldn't go much away from 10 beats either side. Okay, so now if I decided I want that, I just press enter. Now you see it's changed the style, and it's changed the feel there to even 16. So that's what I would always do. I would leave it to the style to set the feel and the time signature. Okay, Big Black, I'll get back to you on that. Just drop me your email. Craig, how did you change the style? Okay, so I just went into the style. I hope I've answered your question. I came up the style picker. I press clear. Okay, I find the style that I want and I just press enter and it'll go into Band in a Box. Okay, so that's how I changed the style. Oh, okay. Other part markers. You can, other part markers like a purple one or whatever. The drum beats inside Band in a Box have lots of different variations, and you can assign those variations to those various styles. So an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you can go mad. Personally, I've never done it. I've only ever used the A's and the B's. It's kept me busy. So that's what you can do. If you open up the drums, you'll see they've got lots of different variations of those drums, and that's what you can use that for. Murray, yes, if you put lyrics in, you can copy and paste both chords and lyrics. The green and blue again. What if you don't want a 4-bar outro? Ha, there's always one. Okay. Miriam, the green and blue, to put a part marker in, you just put your mouse there and you press enter, and it'll by default, it'll put a blue part marker in there. If I press again, it'll put a green part marker. You can also right click and it'll show you A's and B's. Okay, all right. These part markers, the green part markers, are generally more busy. They've got a busier drum style than the blue part markers. So hopefully this might do it, but often it doesn't. So let's just play the drums. So I muted all the other instruments and I just soloed the drums. So it's a slow shaker on the blue. Oh, you see, the Murphy's Law will have it. This particular style, it's the same. If I choose a rock one, let me just choose a rock style quickly and I'll demonstrate that to you. Pop rock. Do not worry about the yellow for now. I will explain that to you, hopefully, if I've got time. Okay, so it's quite a slow beat for the blue. Faster, a little bit more vibey for the green. Okay, and when you play it with the other instruments, you'll hear it. And sometimes some of the guitars might also be more vibey for the green. Okay, moving on. Endings. Miriam wants to know, what if you don't want a 4-bar outro? Miriam, are you a Windows user? Because if you're a Windows user, then it comes with Real Band, okay? And then inside Real Band, you can do whatever you want with endings, with whatever you want. If I don't like the ending that Band in a Box generates for me, then I use Real Band to go and do my own ending. You can put a stop and a hold on the last chord. We're getting to stops and holds. We'll talk about that later. And I'll show you how to do that. But yeah, 99% of the time, use the Band in a Box ending. Otherwise, you can edit it in Real Band. She's on Mac. Okay. Okay, so you would have to do it on another door, whatever you're using. It's a difficult one. I'll show you a little trick a little later on when we're talking about tacits and how to put stops and holds in. Okay, so how are we doing for time? I'm going to go back to my style again. So I'm going to clear and I'm going to type in Amazing Grace. And I'm going to find one that suits it again. And I think it was the slow soft part that I liked. So now, often what will happen is you don't like the instruments that PG Music has given you in this style, and you want to put another instrument on. You want to take an instrument out. You want to change these instruments. Now, remember, I told you that these white ones are unused tracks, so you can use those to select tracks to add to the song. So if I don't want to take anything out, I want to just add to it. Just right click on one of the white tracks, select real tracks. Okay, and this will bring up all of the, no, I'm in trouble because I can't see the bottom of my screen because of this. Okay, show all. This will bring up all the instruments that you have in your version of Band in a Box. Okay, so I have the Ultra Pack. So I have got 3,100 instruments. I've got guitars, I've got dobros, I've got harmonicas, I've got everything that the mind can think of. When you open up your instruments, you might have less instruments if you've only got the Pro version or the Mega Pack version. You won't have all the instruments. Okay, you will only get the instruments that you have purchased with your Band in a Box. So now the first thing, so say I wanted to add a harmonica to my track. So the first thing I'm just going to do, might help if I could. I'm going to type in harmonica. Okay, the next thing to realize is that this is a waltz. So if I choose something that is not a waltz, a real track that's not a waltz, it's not going to sound very nice. There are no rules in music, so you're welcome to do whatever you want, but generally this song will sound better with a waltz. So I'm just going to type in waltz as well. And you can see that I haven't actually got any harmonica waltzes. Okay. So I will forget about that. Maybe a mandolin. Okay, and I'm going to type in waltz. Okay, I've got some waltzes here. All right. So again, be a little bit careful that when you're choosing an instrument, the same as when you were choosing a style, that you must choose a style where the tempo and everything, is close to where you want. When you're adding an instrument to your song, you must make sure that the instrument that you're adding is around about the tempo of your song. So don't go and select one that's recorded at 180 beats per minute for a song that you're trying to sing at 90 beats per minute. It'll sound horrible. Same if you try and include something that's 45 beats per minute into a 90, it'll sound horrible and you'll say, oh, Band in a Box doesn't work, I want to give it back. Okay, so there's this one. And I can solo it, I think. I don't know why it's not soloing. There we go. It's like a chop type thing. All right. The other thing to notice about this is the swing feel. Okay, so don't go, you can, but it just won't sound great if you choose an instrument that has been recorded with an even feel into a song that has got a swing style. It'll always sound better if you choose a swing instrument, an instrument that's been recorded with a swing feel into a swing style. But there's no rules. I sometimes mix and match. So sometimes you can't find one in a swing when you've got an even song, and I use it and it sounds fine, but it's probably not a good idea. So I think my song was a swing, if I'm correct. And the other thing to notice here is the type. So if it's a rhythm or background instrument, then it will sound fine when you're recording vocals. If it's a soloist instrument, it's not going to sound so lekker. It's going to be too busy and it's going to compete with the vocal, okay? So generally, as a rule of thumb, if you're just adding an instrument to your bed of instruments, then you will want to add something that's got a type of rhythm or background. If you're adding an instrument just to be used in a certain section as a solo, then you can choose the soloist one. Or if you want an instrument in the very beginning or wherever, that's where you would use the soloist. Okay, so I'm just going to select this one. Oh, my song is even 8. I was wrong. Okay, so I'm just going to right click again on the mandolin here, and I need to choose an even one. Choose select real track. Sorry, wrong screen. So I want an even one. I don't want a swing one. There we go. Oh, that's the bass. Bouzouki. Okay, this is at 120. It's not great because it's recorded at 120. So that might be a little bit far from my tempo, which is 90, but I'll give it a try because these other ones are all swing. You see that swing, that swing, that swing. Okay, let me move this thing out the way. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to choose that one and see how it sounds. I mean, hear how it sounds. Okay, so I've got a mandolin. I've added it there, and you will hear it being added to your song. Okay, so it does sound a little bit stretched, but I'm going to live with it now. So I might not, if I was doing this for real, I might not use that mandolin. I might try and find another instrument that's better. I don't know why this one's a swing. I do have a swing instrument in there already. Weird. Okay, so if I decide that I don't want a particular instrument and I want to swap it out, so this auto harp is a swing instrument. So say I decide that this auto harp is interfering with my even beat, just right click on the auto harp, select tracks and real tracks, and now I can replace it with something that might sound a bit better. Okay, so give me an instrument. Give me an instrument that you want to see in this song. Anybody? Not yet. Huh? Dobro. Fiddle, that's always a good one. Fiddle. Okay, and remember I want it to be a waltz. That's my dog barking, sorry. Fiddle waltz. This thing's really getting in the way. Okay, so I've got lots of fiddles here. The sound, look, it's got some potential, except that it's swing. There's an even, they're all around 120, interestingly. Okay. Top waltz, 120. Okay, so say I like that one. And again, I'm using a background one because I don't want it to interfere with my song. So I don't choose a soloist one. I press enter and you see that it's replaced the auto harp with a fiddle. So now the auto harp is gone and I've got everything is even now. So now I'm happy. Sounds rather horrible, but anyway. If you want to get rid of that, okay, you don't want that fiddle, you just right click, go track actions and erase a track. These. Okay, to erase the real track, yes. Okay, to erase the MIDI data, yes. And it's gone. Oh, why didn't it go? Oh, it's put back the auto harp. Interesting. I might have to do it again. Let's see if I can erase it again. Oh, it doesn't let me erase it. Track actions, erase track. That's interesting. Didn't let me erase it. Maybe because it's in the style, I'm not too sure. Okay. Interesting. Okay. That is weird. I will get back to you on that. So erasing a track that's in a style. So I've got a couple of things to get back to you on. One is erasing a track in a style, and then the other one is switch between old and new on a Mac. And then we're going to talk about the, if you don't want the full bar outros. Okay. So now say I want to add a solo instrument. So in my song, I've got a 4-bar intro here, and then I've got the first refrain, and then I've got a verse, and then I've got the second refrain, and then I've got another verse. So say instead of singing on the second refrain, I wanted an instrumental. Say I wanted a mandolin to play there, and I only wanted it to play there. Okay, I'm just going to erase this track first. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to add the instrument into your bed, okay, your musical bed. So I'm going to add a mandolin. Select real tracks. Select real tracks. Update. Okay. So this is the instrument that I want to play as a solo. Okay, so now I'm going to choose one of these soloist ones rather than a rhythm one. And they're all swing beats, so it's not giving me a lot of choice here, unfortunately. Okay, so let's go guitar. Going to choose a guitar rather. A guitar waltz, and I want something that's a soloist. So if I just click at the top here, then it'll sort it by that column. So I'm going to go down to the bottom where I've got the soloists. There. Okay, so that might be okay. Okay, so I want a Mellow Brent acoustic guitar solo. So I just press enter, and you see there that it's put that guitar into that blank track for me. Okay, so now that guitar is going to be playing from the beginning of the song. You hear it now? Does not sound very nice, but I am demonstrating to you. I would probably find a better instrument to do a soloist there. Okay, but you don't want this guitar playing from bar 1 all the way through the song, like all the other instruments. You only want it to come in on bar 53, okay? So this is where you use something called bar settings. So you right-click on the bar where you want the bar setting. You go to bar settings. Okay, now this opens up a whole world for you. Okay, this screen is basically giving instructions to Band in a Box what to do at bar number 1. You can change the number of beats per bar. You can change it to 2/4 timing, whatever you want there. You can change the tempo. You can change the key. You can change the whole style. Okay. But what we want to do is at bar 1, we want to mute this guitar, okay? Mute it. That's what I want to do at bar number 1. Keep moving these things around and say, okay. Now you see what it's done here. It's put a little red mark next to bar number 1. And that's telling you that you've got some bar settings behind bar number 1. It doesn't tell you what it's doing, but it's just saying there are some bar settings there. So if you forget, close your song, come in and you open it again, and you see that there's that little red line. You can go, oh, I wonder what I did there. You can double click it. Sorry, not double click it, right click it. Oh, now it's generating. You right click, you go to bar settings, and you can see what you've done here. You've muted the guitar at bar number 1. Okay. Now at bar number 53 is where you want to unmute it. So you want the guitar to start playing at bar number 53. Right click in bar number 53, go back to chords, bar settings, and then set the guitar back to normal. back to normal means play as normal. That's what back to normal means. So mute will, at bar 1, it'll mute it. And then at bar 53, it's back to normal, which means play. Okay? Generate again. And you will see at bar 1, we haven't got that guitar. I solo it. You can hear that there's nothing. And then it'll start playing at bar 53. I'm pressing Control F to start playing from the bar. Okay, it does not sound very nice, I'll have to give you that, but you could see that the guitar was playing. That little green line there, you could see that the guitar was playing during bar 53. Right, now at bar 68, sorry, at bar 69, when bar 69 now wants to start playing, you want that guitar to mute. So I go back to bar settings and now I go back to that guitar and I mute it. Okay. So again, it puts that little red bar and that guitar will not be playing from there to the end of the song. So you can record your vocals and things like that. Okay. So we'll get to those questions. I'm just going to get through this little section. Okay, so that's adding a solo instrumental in the middle of the song. The other way to add complexity and a little bit of interest to the songs is to add what we call stops and holds, and this also ties in to endings as well. If you you know, when you go and see a live band and then somebody, you know, when just before they go into the chorus, somebody like a guitarist or something will give it like a tacit. I don't know what you call it in musical terms because I'm not trained in music. They'll give like a tacit, so it'll go just like a long one strum. So instead of strumming straight through the last bar and into the chorus, they'll give a nice little tacit, if you like. So in Band in a Box, it's really easy to do that, and we do that using chord settings. So say we wanted a nice tacit in bar 20. So at the end of the first refrain, before going into the first verse, right click, go to chord settings. Okay, so now, incidentally, while we're on this screen, this is how you put chords into the second beat of a bar and the third beat of the bar. You can easily type the third beat of the bar into the interface, but you can't type it in the interface in the second beat. So you have to use the screen. That's where you would do it. Okay. Sorry, that was a little bit of an aside. Okay. So in order to get that tacit, I just pull down this and say hold chord. Okay. And now you see it says all instruments, right? So I'm going to select all instruments for now. Press OK. And you see what it's done here. It's got a G and it's got 3 little dots above the G. That is saying that there's a hold chord on that bar number 20. And you'll be able to hear what it sounds like. I'm just going to regenerate, make sure that it generates all the tracks. And then I'm just going to play from this bar. So did everybody hear that? Did everybody hear that tacit? So all the instruments just played one long strum. But sometimes you might not want all the instruments to play one long strum, because sometimes, especially on some of the country styles, it might be very harsh. So it's like a jarring type style, so jarring sound. So you might only want a couple of the instruments to do that tacit. So go back into chord settings, okay? Go back into this little setup here and say all except, say, the drums and the bass. Okay, that's what I usually use when I use these stops and holds. I usually make the bass and the drums play through, and then just the other instruments to do a nice one strum. So let's hear what that sounds like. Just going to generate again. And then I'm going to play from bar 17. Okay. I think I only did the drums there. Just let me check. Go back into chord settings. I didn't have the bass tick, so the bass did not play through. Generate again. I'm just going to play from bar 17. So you see there's put a little B and a D there above the G. So if you listen to that, you'll hear, well, certainly the tambourine, which is what we've got as our drums, carried on playing through that tacit. So that's also a very handy, handy trick to know how to do, just to insert a bit of silence. Changing styles, keys, and tempos in the middle of a song. And I think somebody was asking about that in the middle of a song and the beat. Okay, Kari was asking that. So when you right click on here on and go into the bar settings, there's a lot of options that you can do and you can play around with in this screen. Okay, this screen is basically saying, what do I want to happen at beat number 1? What do I want to change? So remember, at beat number 1, we wanted to mute the guitar, but you can change the tempo. You can change the beats per bar, you can change the key, and you can change the style. Okay, so I'm just going to move my mouse down to, say, the first, verse. I'm going to right click there. I'm going to go into bar settings and say I wanted to change the whole style. Okay, and I wanted to change it to a Spanish siesta gentle waltz. And I pressed OK. Okay, again, you see it's put a little bar settings there, which will tell me that there's something going on in that bar. Okay, so let's just regenerate so it doesn't get confused. Okay, so at this bar 17, you're going to get the tune Slow Celtic Harp Waltz. Then watch after bar 20 and bar 21 how the style will change and all the instruments that make up the bed of music will change. Okay, so I'm going to just play from bar number 17. So did everybody see there how the whole style changed from the slow to the Spanish something like that? All the instrument changes. So you can do that wherever you want in the song because you're doing it by bar settings, which is giving Band in a Box an instruction at that particular point in the song. Okay, so you could change the key, you could change the tempo, and you can mute and unmute instruments. Okay, so that takes care of that. Right. Arunava, is that how you say it? Possible to add a third-party instrument into a track. Okay, so we're getting into recording audio now. So this recording audio is a whole subject on its own. But suffice it to say that the best way to record audio is just to start, okay? And you will immediately hear where things are wrong, what you need to improve. you know, that's how I started. I just started with a USB microphone, whatever you've got. I even record with my headphones sometime. Just start. Don't wait till you've got all the studio equipment and the, you know, the soundproofing and all that stuff. Just start recording audio. So I'm just going to remove these bar settings because I don't want it to distract me while I'm trying to record. Dear, now what's happened? Clear. How do I clear all this lot? Clear style. There we go. Okay, and I'm just going to remove this guitar because I don't like it at all. Check actions. Erase check. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, you know, however you can record vocals, you do it. I've got a Scarlett Solo that I use, or audio, a USB microphone, or however. Just read the instruction manual and make sure you've got the right driver set up for your audio interface. Okay. Once you've got that, you should be able to just record audio. You see here, this is the input. It's showing me the input. And this is actually coming from my headphones. This input is coming in from my headphones. That's where it's going to record from at the moment. So I'm just going to go ahead and record this. But before I do that, I want to show you something. Okay. I'm going to save this song. And I'm going to save it to a new folder. How do I make a new folder? Going a bit blank here. Internet Explorer. File Explorer. Sorry. Going a bit blank. Pressure's getting to me. Documents. Okay. One of my clients got very confused about this the other day, so it's worthwhile explaining it. I'm going to create a new folder. Okay, so I suggest that you create a folder on your computer for all your songs. And I'm going to save this song to that folder. Training. I'm going to call it Amazing Grace. Don't use funny characters here in the name. Just use a straightforward name. Okay. Okay, so now if you have a look at your folder, you'll see what it's created here is a .sgu. Okay, so an SGU is a band in a box file, and you can open any SGU from any version of Band in a Box since 19 Frozen to Death, and it will open. It's the most amazing technology, I promise you. And then sometimes you might see other extensions, like an MGU has got a MIDI melody in it. Okay, but most of the time right now it's just an SGU. That's what it saved my my song as. Where's my Band in a Box gone now? Goodness, I hate this. Can't find my Band in a Box. Okay. All right, so I did a save as, and now I want to just record an audio of me singing, and I'm just recording my headphones because that's what I've got switched on here, and I'm just going to record. My voice is a bit croaky because I was jamming at the guitar shop all morning, so my voice is not going to sound fantastic, but anyway, it's taking a little bit of time here. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost. Okay, that was enough. I'm just going to say, yes, I want to keep the take. Okay, or I can do a take again. Now you see what's happened. It's used the special track in Band in a Box called audio. Okay, it's actually saved my singing to a WAV file. Okay, so if I just press play, a little bit of time here. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Okay, so what it's done is it's actually put my recording of my voice onto this audio track. So Arunava, I think that's how you say it. That's how you would record yourself playing the piano or the flute or the whatever. You would record it using audio, using a nice microphone, put it in there, and it'll save it to the audio track. Okay. So I'm going to save the song again, and I'm going to show you what happens inside my training folder. It's got the SGU file, okay, which is the band in a box file. And you can see that it's only 6 kilobytes big, right? Then we've got this file, which has got exactly the same name, but it's a WAV file. And that file is the audio that I recorded just now, that's sitting on this audio track, okay? So if I just double click that, you'll hear it's just my vocal. A little bit of time here. What have I done? What did I do? Amazing grace, how sweet. Okay, so it's important that you understand that, that the audio that you record in Band in a Box is not stored in this SGU file. It's stored in a WAV file with exactly the same name. Okay, so if I now close my Band in a Box, say new, so I'm just getting a new file, and if I open it, that same Amazing Grace again, okay, it's going to open the audio file with exactly the same name, because that is where that it thinks that it's got the audio for that song. So I hope that everybody's clear on that, because it's quite important that you understand that that's how you record your audio, your vocals, and whatever other instruments you want to do is using that method. Okay, so I'm going to go back to a few questions. Custom endings, banjo. Okay. So like I say, try and use the Band in a Box settings, the endings, as much as possible. 99% of the time, I have used the Band in a Box endings exactly as they've given me with this 4-bar outro, okay? If I didn't like the 4-bar outro, I go into Real Band and I mess with it in there, but I'm not going to get into Real Band in today's session. If everyone would like a Real Band tutorial, then let me know and I'll run another tutorial specifically for Real Band. But the Mac people haven't got Real Band, so I don't want to go into Real Band now. But if I didn't like this ending that Band in a Box has generated for me, I would do it in Real Band. The other thing that you can do is use a stop and a hold at this bar, so 85. So if I right click on that bar 85 and I go to the chord settings, remember we were talking about that, and I say I want to hold the chord and I want all instruments, it will do a nice tacit on that G, okay? I promise you it's not going to be as nice as what Band in a Box generates, but it's an ending. And you can put that anywhere. Okay, so let me just go back there. I'm going to just kill my audio because you don't really want to, let me just mute it for now. So I'm going to play from bar 81. So it's not bad. It's more or less the same as what Band in a Box does. So you can experiment with that. You can experiment with putting the whole chord on bar 84 if you want. Okay, it's probably not going to work. It probably does better to put it there. But that is the other way that you can do a custom ending in Band in a Box. So I hope that answers that question. Murray, how do you copy both chords and lyrics? Exactly the same as you copy well, it depends on what you're referring to as lyrics. I use bar-based lyrics, Murray. So mine does copy. I just do a Control-C, put where I want it in a Control-V, and it does copy the lyrics for me as well. But I use bar-based lyrics. That's a little bit more of a complicated issue. I have got some videos on creating bar-based lyrics, Murray, if you want to go and have a look at those. Otherwise, send me an email and I'll look at it. I'll look at it for you. Right, I'm just going to go back to the first list that Holly gave me. Okay, so we've talked about that. 6, 8. So also the purple one, we've talked about that. Chords and lyrics, Murray, I've got that. Green and blue again. Okay, we've talked about that. Did you say Control 8 to play from that bar? Oh, okay. On Windows, it's Control F. Control F. I don't know what it is on a Mac. Sorry, but you can find out all the shortcuts here. So you see, it's got play from bar here. Play. Okay, if I pull that down. Play special, okay, play special, play from bar, Control F. So for you guys on the Mac, you can find out the shortcuts that you can use on a Mac using these menu options, okay? Because that's where you go play from bar. On a Windows, Control F, but on a Mac, just go play special, play from bar, and you'll see what the shortcut is from that. Okay. Does it have horn solos? Yes, Era, lots. It has so many horns. It's just not even funny. Especially if you've got the Ultra Pack. It will keep you busy for the rest of your life. Believe me. I'll show you a few of them. So I'll just right-click on an unused track here. Select real tracks. Select real tracks. And they've also got a whole lot of like medleys of different horns, and they've got whole horn sections. Again, these are the horns that I've got in my version of Band in a Box. So you might not have exactly the same, but you can see you've got all sorts of flugelhorn, a trumpet, a sax, all sorts of things. And again, if you look here, it tells you whether it's a soloist or a background or whatever. So lots of horns, yes. What if you want to silence everything after beat 1? Not too sure what you mean there. You can maybe ask that again in a different way. Sean's style change in the middle of a song. Mixer did not change for me. It should, Sean. The mixer should change in the middle of the song, but it did change back again. So as soon as I pressed stop, it changed back again. So just try it again. I go bar settings, okay, and I go change the style. I want to change the style to something different. Okay. Okay, you see I've got a bar setting there. I'm just going to generate again. From here, just watch here, what happens here and here. And then when you press stop, it'll go back to the Stewart slow Celtic harp waltz thing. See there? It changed the style. It didn't change the instruments, interestingly enough. I never noticed that before, but it changed the style. It didn't change the instruments displayed here, but it certainly changed the instruments that was playing. Interesting, never knew that. Okay, Miriam, can you add a WAV file that was recorded externally with difficulty, Miriam? Yes, you can. But how I do this, and I collaborate with artists all over the world, is I send them a Band in a Box backing track already, so that when they record their instruments or their vocals or whatever, it's recorded to the exact tempo of your song. Okay, then you will be able to bring it in your DAW and line it up nicely. All right. If you try and retrofit, if somebody plays a guitar and you try and retrofit a Band in a Box backing track to it, you're going to battle. I've done it once, but it is a mission and it never sounds 100%. The better workflow is to make a track in Band in a Box. It doesn't have to be perfect. You send it to them, just an MP3. I'll show you how to render to MP3. And you send them that MP3 and then they record the WAV file, they send it back to you, and then you bring it in. You just might have some trouble lining it up, but you should be able to do that if they're good, you know. You can, it's not always easy because you have to move it around so that it starts at exactly the right time. So what I used to do was, when I sent it to my friend who lived in Oman, I used to get it to clap with the timing so that I knew I could line those claps up with the ticks, with the drum beat ticks on the intro. But it's not easy. Where else are we, Holly? Other messages, other questions, they're coming in thick and fast. All right, so we talked about no, this is not what I want, sorry. I'm just trying to find something, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay. Can't find it. Okay, what have we got here? Some of my packets are corrupted. How do I totally delete? Okay, yes, Craig, all of your purchases will be on your, so Craig is saying some of my packets are corrupted. How do I totally delete Band in a Box and go back to website to download Band in a Box fresh? Craig, yes, all of your purchases are available on your account on Band in a Box. If they're not, you can easily just email support with your serial number and they'll set it up for you, but you should be able to get back and you can download everything. So you should just be able to download everything, reinstall, and it will reinstall over your Band in a Box. Probably safer to uninstall first, but yeah, that would be the way to go. Eric, if you wanted to use all your Band in a Box songs on a gig and download to an iPad, where would they go on the iPad? Okay, so how I would do that, and I'm just about to show you how to render to MP3. Okay, so once you are happy with your file, you just go edit, save special, and then save as an MP3. Okay, now I would always call my MP3 something different than I call my SGU, because you don't want it to get confused with this WAV file that is your vocals. So I would call it something different. Final MP3. Okay. If you just call it Amazing Grace, then it's going to pull up that MP3 next time you open that song, because it's going to think that it's the vocal. Okay, so I go save as. Right, so there's my final song, and it's, I'll just press play. Play. Oh, it's still busy. I'm too fast for it. I'm too fast. it's still busy rendering and I'm trying to play it. So while that's busy, I'm just trying to, oh no, I can't. Okay, so now it says that it has finished and it's 7 megabytes big. Okay, if you want to, you can render it to a WAV file, which is a higher quality audio file than an MP3. Most people can't tell the difference, but if you're plugging it into a PA system or whatever, you might want to render it to a WAV file. So if I double click this, this will be my final MP3. So Eric, that's how I do it. And that's not to say that's the only way to do it, because there's lots of ways to do it. You can take your laptop along to your Band in a Box gig if you want. There's hundreds of different ways of doing this. The way that I do it is I render it to an MP3, and then I copy that MP3 onto your iPad or onto your phone even. I've got all my MP3s on my phone, so I can just literally plug my phone into a PA system and I've got my backing tracks. It's endless once it's in the MP3. You're given a lot more flexibility. But there is an app that you can download that works in conjunction with Band in a Box. I have never used it, but I know that some people do use it to play their songs at a gig. The only time you wouldn't want to do that is if you want to improvise and change things and change the length of a song or whatever. But to do that on the fly is very hard, I think. You've got to concentrate enough with everything that you've got to do at a gig, just playing and singing without changing the backing and whatever. So I render all my backing tracks to MP3s and I take them with me to my gigs. And I put them in a playlist and away you go. But you can take your laptop or use the app. Nothing else.
What is the name of the app?
What is it? It's Band in a Box. It's Band in a Box. You can go and look it up on the PG Music website. You'll find quite a lot of information about it on there. Okay. Audio. Right. No, man, I'm sorry. I'm just looking for something that I want to show you how to do, and I can't find where it is. This thing. Are there any other questions while we're about it? Just let me know if you want a session similar to this for Real Band, because then we can get quite heavily into Real Band. Oh man, must be here somewhere. Drivers. While we're talking about it, the drivers is a hell of a thing. So if you've got an audio interface, then you must use an ASIO driver. But this is my headphones, it was just using the WAS. If you don't use an ASIO driver with the audio interface, you might get a bit of latency. So if you get latency, latency is a little bit of a lag behind the audio lags behind the backing track. So I'm desperately trying to find where I generate harmonies in this program. I can't see it. But Holly is writing down questions. So I think things have changed. Things have changed since I did this, because I do it in Real Band. You got something?
How do you send the file from Band in a Box?
Yeah, iPads are bloody pain in the butt because they, Apple locked down their whole thing, so you can't just copy it across. There's apps that you can download, which will play your MP3s. So just go and search out on the app stores. There was one that I used to use that had you used to do it via an IP address to transfer it from your computer onto your iPad. Just look for an app to do it because the iPad is a pain in the butt. It really is. Just getting your audio files on there because Apple thinks that they only want Apple music and stuff that you can buy on iTunes on their devices. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But if you've got a tablet like a Galaxy or something like that, then it's easy. You just plug it in and copy it across in the normal way, I think. Okay, sorry, I've just really determined how to show you how to generate harmonies, but I cannot for the life of me find out where you do this on this. Other questions? The tracks. Okay, so there is no difference. They're just blank tracks that Band in a Box have given you. They've called it melody and soloist, but you can put whatever you want in there. All of these tracks, you can put whatever you want in there. Although they've got that as a bass, you can put a guitar there, you can put a fiddle there if you want. You can put whatever you want there. The only one that you can't mess about with is this audio track. That's a very special track that just uses this file, this WAV file in there. That's the only one that you can't put whatever you want in there. Oh, I know what I did want to show you. I wanted to talk a little bit about MIDI because you are going to come across MIDI. Real tracks are real musicians that have sat down in a studio and recorded these 2 bars of music. But there's another way of making music called MIDI. And MIDI is actually computer generated. So it's notes. It's actually the notes. You've got ons and offs and you program it and you tell the computer, this program must play with a guitar, or this program must play with a fiddle, or this program must play with a piano. Okay, so you can assign, once you've got the score written out in MIDI, you can assign any instrument you want to that score. Okay, so that's what MIDI basically is. Band in a Box started out as a MIDI-based program. So they started in 1990 with this technology, and they only had MIDI. So, and only later in the 2000s did they introduce real drums, because everybody was always complaining, saying that the MIDI drums don't sound real. They sound fabricated, okay? So PG Music went and they recorded all these real drums. Then they started expanding into all these other instruments and started adding guitars and bass and all that kind of stuff. And now they're up to all sorts of instruments, okay? But they still got all these MIDI styles. So if I go into the styles picker, sorry, can I say clear? All right, and I just want to select MIDI styles. These are all the old styles that PG Music had. Won't you switch the light on for me, please? These are all the old styles that PG Music had back in the MIDI days, okay? So I'm just gonna double click on the top one, press enter. Oh, what has happened here? What has happened? Silence, a lot of silence there. Let's try again. Try something different. What's going on here? I'm just going to close down my, I don't know, something weird has gone on there because it should change the instruments in the box. Okay, I don't know what it was doing there. Anyway, so this is a MIDI style, okay? Outboard, something rather mid-tempo, shuffle, gospel, all right? I don't know what the hell it is, but it has got a MIDI bass, a piano, a MIDI piano, a MIDI guitar, and a MIDI organ, all right? And you know that because they're yellow. It's got a real track, drums, a real drums track, but that's the only one. Okay, so if I press this play, you'll start hearing what the difference is between real tracks and MIDI. We all know what that sounds like, okay? We all know what MIDI sounds like. You just never knew that it was called MIDI. It's computer-generated music, all right? And it sounds like you on one of those horse carousels with the horses going up and down. That's what it sounds like. In order to make MIDI sound decent, you've got to have what they call a good synthesizer inside your computer, which takes these sounds that it generates and turns it into an orchestral sound, okay? And that is very complex. It's a complex area of study, but it can be done, all right? I've used MIDI for quite a few things. Most of the time, I just use real tracks. When you're starting out, you'll find that real tracks will serve most of your needs. If you have a specific instance where you need something to play particular notes. So say in a song, it's got a particular bass note, a bass run, or a particular riff. You're probably not going to get real tracks to sound exactly like that original, okay? You're going to have to use MIDI for that. And that's where you would use MIDI for making particular notes. It play particular notes, but then again, you're going to have to make it sound decent by having a decent synth inside your computer to translate those ons and offs, the two decent sounds. Does that make sense? Everybody happy with that explanation? And then some tracks are what we call MIDI super tracks. Okay, and those are blue. So if you come across something with these blue tracks, that's a MIDI super track. And what that is it's a copy of the real tracks, but in MIDI. So it's a starting point that you can use in MIDI if you wanted to. So I'll just solo that synth pad for you and you can hear what it sounds like. So it still sounds like computer-generated music. It's MIDI, but they've used a real track, the basis of the real track, to generate that, that MIDI super track. And that's because they've got a lot of customers that have heavily invested in MIDI. So they've got to know how to use MIDI, how to type things in the piano roll, how to, they've got beautiful synths on their computers, and they want to be able to use real tracks. So they would use these blue tracks, which are what they call MIDI super tracks. So that's what the blues are. Right, Holly, I'm ready for more questions. Didn't get the last one. Okay, Rick, how can you convert a MIDI instrumental track to a WAV file for external use? Say on another door. Converting MIDI to WAV, I do the other way around using Melodyne. A MIDI to WAV, I would just render it to a track. So say I wanted to, so the question is, how do I convert a MIDI instrument track to a WAV file so that you can use it elsewhere? So I would just delete all these other tracks. I don't know why it doesn't delete that. Let me just delete this. It deletes it, but it doesn't remove it from the view. It's really weird. Take actions, erase tracks. I'm just going to erase all these other ones. Take actions, erase track. So I should only have the synth pad now. Let me try this. I'm just trying this for the first time, Rick. So I've soloed the synth pad and I'm just going to save special to an MP3, see what happens. Or you can also save, you can save your individual tracks to MP3 files. So I'm just going to call this test. See what it does. when you go save special, you can save all your tracks to individual tracks. So if they're MIDI, I think that it possibly might save it as a wave. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying this for the first time. Okay. Arunova, what version of Band in a Box do you have? She's saying after reinstallation, when it regenerates, I seem to lose some of the styles. Is there a way to know how many styles I should have in total? It depends on what version of Band in a Box you have, but I do have a table of all the styles you should have, so I can get back to you on that. Just let me know what version of Band in a Box you have. So let's see what it did here. Is that a MIDI file? Doesn't say anything. There we go. That seemed to work. Yeah, so you can just render, I think you can render, so you can just solo the instrument and then just save it as an MP3, the whole song as an MP3, because then it's just saving what it's got in that MIDI track as an MP3. But I'm pretty sure that if you muck about with the save as options, you could probably render each individual instrument to its own track. Let me see. Save special. I think it might be in song settings. I'm not too sure. There is a way that you can save individual tracks. Maybe just right-clicking on the track itself. Track actions, save as a WAV file. Okay, so there we go. So that's the easiest way to do it. Just right-click on the track, go track actions, and save it as a WAV file. That's how you convert a MIDI instrument to a WAV. I've updated twice over the past 20 years, and each time there are styles not carried over to the new versions. Can I retrieve the styles from the old versions? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I haven't ever heard of that. I thought that PG Music was particular. Unless they're user styles. Have you been using user styles perhaps? Because there are, ways that you can set up your own styles that you want. And I'm not sure if you lose those when you upgrade, but I've never noticed that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Right, where are we? Steve, are you covering inserting lyrics in this course? I can do, because I might have a bit of time. I'll come back to that. Murray, if you have entered chords and lyrics, how do you copy both the chords and lyrics simultaneously and paste? Did that not work, Murray? There's just the Control-C and Control-V. Okay, let's talk about adding lyrics. We've still got 10 minutes, so let's talk about that. I'm going to just open my Amazing Grace file. Now, I hope I can remember how to do this. Yeah, preferences, display. Man, I can't remember how to do this. Can you believe it? I used to do it all the time. There is a video. There is a video. Let's just go and have a look at the video. No, I mean, it's, let's just look at the video, because it's, and I can talk about it as we're looking at it. So, no, man, sorry. Let's just have a look here. Haven't done it for a long time. I used to do it quite a lot. to do it all the time. I make my own karaoke tracks. So how to make a chords and lyrics video, how to add scrolling chords and lyrics. Let's just have a look quickly. In order to put these scrolling lyrics, now what's happened? In order to put these scrolling lyrics into your song, the first thing you do is you press the chord display, go to layers and choose bar lyrics, okay? You see it's put this little blue line at the top. That is where you can type in your lyrics. I have found that the best way to get your lyrics is to do the following. So go and look on Google and get the lyric. Copy and paste the lyrics from Google into Notepad. And what the trick here is to put each bar's worth of lyrics in its own line inside Notepad. So go amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. And then we've got a blank line. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear. Oh, 'twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. Another, how precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Okay, so once you've put each bar of lyrics into its own line, you just copy, just Control C, go over to Band in a Box and double click in the first, in the little blue space above the very first chord. Okay, and you see it turns purple, which means that it's expecting you to type something or copy and paste something. Now all you do is you press Control V. And you can see how fantastic this is. Band in a Box has put the lyrics into the right spot here, and they will scroll along when you play. So here we go. Okay, so does that answer your question? Sorry, I feel like I'm cheating here because I just showed you a video that I did. Because I couldn't remember how to do it. Now I remember. Okay, so yeah, you go into chord display, you set layers, and you go bar lyrics, and then you put everything into a text file. You put each bar in its own line. You just Control C and Control V. You can just type, or you can just type it. Great. Sweet. Okay, I just want to see, because Murray is asking me if I just copy and paste, do I copy the lyrics as well? So I've just highlighted that line, and I'm going to line number 9 and Control V, and it didn't. Did it? Did it not? Well, I never. So it didn't copy the lyrics as well. I know, it doesn't copy the lyrics. It actually makes sense because the lyrics are different. Maybe not. But if, Murray, if you put them into a little notepad, then you can just pick up that area in the notepad and just copy paste them there. So you don't have to retype them in every time. It doesn't seem to copy the lyrics. Sorry about that. Okay, so inserting lyrics we've talked about. Renuva, you just let me know what version of Band in a Box you've got, and then I can send you a list of all the styles that you should have. Okay. Is there a way to recall an instrument when I have notated it? Play the sax to Amazing Grace and see the notes on the notation. Yeah. Okay, so notation is another whole big area inside Band in a Box. to use notation, you have to use MIDI, all right? It's a whole area which I can run something on it, but it's really quite involved using notation. Let me just show you quickly. Let's open up a style. It's a MIDI style. Why does it do that? Why does it do that? I don't know why it's doing that funny thing. I think it's doing its thing again. Doing something very weird. Sometimes it's got a mind of its own. Window, lead sheet. No. Window, notation, movable notation. Yes, I'm getting into a whole area here. 2244. It's a complicated area, MIDI. You have to use MIDI to use notation. So I'm not going to be able to get into it in this session. Sorry about that. What else? Is that it, Holly? No more questions. Have I answered everybody's questions? Well, I know I haven't answered them all, but for an introduction into Band in a Box, let me know. I think that I've got a couple of things to get back. How to switch between the old and new interface in a Mac was the one. Eric, you wanted to know what if you want to silence everything after beat 1. I wasn't too sure what you were asking there, but hopefully I've answered that question. Notation. And then there's this question of styles. I'm not too sure about that.
What is
THRU? Through. I don't know. I've never used it. I don't know what it is for. It's another track that you can use for something in Band in a Box. I've never used it. Sorry, I can't answer that. Right, I am absolutely exhausted. Thank you all so much for coming, and the recording will be made available on YouTube afterwards. So I will send out the recording to everybody. Solo instruments. How do you use solo instruments? Is that what somebody? Demo. Oh, okay. I'll show you quickly. I'm just going to open my Amazing Grace song. So you just go select real tracks. Okay, just double click. And then you hit the solo button. Another great thing that you can do is you can have a look at the song demos and the style demos. So if there's a particular instrument that you like, so say you like this nylon string guitar, okay, you could find out all the styles that it's in just by pushing this down, and it's going to give you all the styles. So just jot it down and you can go and audition those styles that have that guitar in it. And the song demo as well. Okay. As well, those are all the styles that instrument is part of, which I find very interesting. Right, guys, I am going to sign off. If there's nothing else new, nothing else happening there, no other questions. Did everybody enjoy it? Let me know if there's things that I need to improve on. I'm planning on running these every couple of months as soon as people let me know that they're waiting for me to do it. And thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
It was really fun.
Good. I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joanne. That was good.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Joanne.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
It's great to see the pro get flustered.
Great. I want to see some songs on the Facebook group. Bye bye, everybody.